In ancient India, the chariot was the absolute king of the battlefield. In the Mahabharata, the ultimate title a warrior could get was Maharathi, literally meaning a great chariot warrior. I'm sure we are all familiar with the images of Arjun expertly firing arrows on the battlefield as Krishna steers his chariot. And it's not just Arjun, all great warriors of the Mahabharata, be it Abhimanyu, Dronacharya, Bhishma Pitama, all of them are seen riding a chariot in the battlefield. And it's not just the Mahabharata, the chariots also feature prominently in the Ramayana, the Vedas, and the Puran. In fact, we get further evidence from a cave painting in Mirzapur that's dated to around 1000 BC, where we see a charioteer fighting a group of bowmen. So you can see how old chariots are and how central they have been to Indian warfare. But flash forward a few centuries, and chariots completely vanish from Indian history. Think about it. We never see Shivaji Maharaj riding a chariot. He's always seen riding a horse. Neither do we see Akbar on a chariot. He is always seen riding an elephant into battle. Even if we go back to Prithviraj Chauhan in the 12th century, still zero chariots. So, how did the ancient world's ultimate weapon completely disappear? Why did we stop using it? Although we didn't stop using them completely, we continued using them for wedding barats, temple processions. I'm sure we all heard of the Jagannath Rath Yatra that takes place every year. But using chariots for military warfare, that became very much a thing of the past. The usage of chariots almost completely ended in terms of military warfare by the turn of the 8th century. To understand why that happened, we first have to ask one question: why did we even use chariots in the first place? And the answer comes down to a bizarre biological problem. You see, ancient India's native horses were tiny. We are talking almost the size of modern ponies. And because they were so small, their spines were way too weak to carry a fully armored, heavy warrior into the battlefield. But what one horse couldn't do, multiple could. And that was the brilliant loophole that Indian engineers exploited. A single horse couldn't carry a warrior, but many of them could be tied to a lightweight chariot that gives archers a stable elevated platform to fire arrows on their enemies. If the ground was flat and dry, the chariot was absolutely unstoppable. But the keyword here is if. If the surface wasn't flat and dry, then the chariot had major problems. And all these problems were exposed in 326 BC at the Battle of Hydaspes. The Indian king Porus was facing off against Alexander the Great. Porus brought a terrifying force, over 300 massive military chariots. Each one was loaded with up to 6 men and pulled by 4 horses. They were the tanks of the ancient world. But on the day of the battle, nature wasn't exactly on Porus' side. It rained, and that too heavily. Not exactly the best scenario for a chariot. The battlefield turned into a swamp. Those massive, heavy chariot wheels sank instantly into the thick mud. They were completely immobilized. They became easy targets, waiting to be killed by Alexander's army. Alexander's men were riding directly on their horses. They were fast, agile, and bypassed the mud entirely. They swarmed the stuck chariots and picked off all the drivers one by one. Porus actually had to abandon his own chariot mid battle and climb onto an elephant just to survive. Think about it. He fought bravely, but the chariots had failed him. He lost the battle. Looking on from the sidelines, observing this battle from afar, was a famous strategist that I'm sure all of you have heard of. His name was Chanakya. When he helped Chandragupta Maurya establish the mighty Mauryan Empire, he made sure of one thing, and that was to focus less on chariots and more on elephants. Now think about it. Elephants don't have narrow wheels. Their massive feet don't get stuck in the mud. They can march through jungles, cross rocky rivers, and even climb mountains. But the final nail in the chariot's coffin, it was globalization. As trade routes opened up with Central Asia, Greece, and Arabia, a new wave of imports started hitting India. Large, powerful, deep chested war horses. These foreign breeds were strong enough to carry a heavily armored soldier directly on their back. Suddenly, the math didn't make sense anymore. Why spend a fortune building, maintaining, and repairing a fragile wooden chariot when you can just put a soldier on a superior foreign horse? It was faster, cheaper, and worked on any terrain. But how desperate did India's kings get for these foreign horses? The answer is actually quite a bit. Just look at the Vijayanagar Empire centuries later. Portuguese records show that the king of Vijayanagar literally monopolized the international horse trade. Or at least he tried to. He paid absolute fortunes in pure gold just to get the best and strongest horses from Arabia and Central Asia. He even paid them full price for horses that died during the journey, and all that just to keep those traders loyal to him. What this tells you is that how important these foreign horse breeds had become to India's military warfare. If you didn't have these horses, you couldn't win a single battle. By that point, the chariot was ancient history. The vehicle that defined the age of legends was replaced first by the elephant and then foreign horse breed.
And so, this was the story of how India's legendary war chariot became completely extinct on the battlefield.
So, if you love this deep dive into India's military history, hit that like button and subscribe for more untold stories. See you next time.